Good morning, everybody. Got your coffee? I got mine. So listen, um, Real One Trans LLC, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I also appreciate the fact that you said this is for both the library and coffee. Thank you so much, because if you had just said it was for the library, I would have only spent that money on just that library. So, and I wouldn't have spent any, on coffee trips or coffee runs or brand coffee that I make at home. It would have all went to the library pantry. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Before we get started, last thing I want to say about thank you so much for everyone that was so supportive about that swatting incident that took place in my home. And I thank you for your concerns. I really do. I do. I don't want to come off like like I was, what I'm saying, like I didn't appreciate your concerns. I understand your concerns. I'm a very cautious person. Trust me when I tell you, I'll be perfectly safe. My husband will be in the vehicle, and I will have all my safety situation going on. But some conversations need to be had. And black people calling the police on other black people in 2024, knowing that outcome over it for entertainment reasons, that is a conversation that I need to have with that neighbor. And so tomorrow when we go to the library and I download that file and fill it out and send it back, and when I do end up getting the transcript from that 911 call, if there's any identifying information, and usually in a 911 call they ask you what your name is and what your address is. And so if that information is there, and if I can use it to identify the person who swatted me, I'm going to have that conversation, and I'm not going to be talked out of that. And I'm a very approachable, reasonable, logical adult. And so when you send the police to my house, I understand what you all are saying about safety. But when you send the police to my house and you mess with me when you don't have to mess with me, and you put me in that kind of danger when you don't have to put me in that kind of danger, that's a conversation. That's going to always be a conversation. And that's all about that. With that being said, if you follow me over on TikTok and you've been following me for a while, I can't believe this discussion between black people and Palestinians is still going on. And it's crazier than ever. Last year, I told black people, I know I always say it, but it's my hometown, so how can I not mention that I am from Detroit, Michigan? I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Although I've traveled, I have never lived any place outside, Ohio for a minute. But outside of that, I've never lived any place other than Michigan until I moved to South Carolina 5 years ago. And that was for like 48, 49 years of my life. I was in Michigan. And listen, if you don't know, Detroit, Michigan, where I am from, has a huge Palestinian community. And so last year, when I started seeing how hard my people were going for Gaza, I had a conversation with them. And if you follow me on TikTok, and you've been following me for a while over there, you know what I said in that conversation. And I said, I understand that y'all having a hard time, black people, watching this genocide, because that's what it is, take place in real time. I want you to keep in mind that they don't like you either. Palestinians are truly anti-black. And whenever you try to have these conversations with black people, it goes to show you how deeply embedded white supremacy is in us, because when you try to have these conversations, we don't want to listen to other black people. We'll listen to white people. And I have a white follower who also lived in Detroit. And people did not listen to me until she stepped into the conversation and said, oh yeah, I'm from Detroit too. And I had to explain to my husband, who is from England, excuse me, why it is black people and Palestinians have this issue in Detroit. And Even black Palestinians tried to tell us, and we wouldn't listen to black Palestinians. And black people wanted to hang on to that one snapshot that got taken where the Black Panther Party was with Palestinians, and they were like, we've always been in solidarity with one another. That's not true. That's not true. The Black Panther Party, listen, let me tell you, baby. The Black Panther Party did the same thing then that black people are doing right now. And that is, when we see another marginalized community getting bullied and white supremacy attacking them, we cape up and we go run into their defense. It's the truth. We go run into their fence thinking that we're going to have an ally in them if we fight their battle with them or for them. Only to turn around and be called slaves in that nation because of our skin. Because black people, we have internalized so much racism. And we have been bullied by white supremacy so much. And some of us seek validation in white adjacency because we want to participate in white supremacy too. And a lot of us think that we can fight our way into that. A lot of us think that we can shuck and jive our way into it. A lot of us think that we can earn our way into it. A lot of us are so unconscious, we don't even see all the many ways in which we try to engage with white supremacy. Take, for example, a black person swatting another black person in a black community. That is white supremacy. We learned to do that shit from white people. White people calling the police on black people, just minding our business, or black people that they wanted removed out of spaces that they consider to be their own spaces. And what do? They get on the phone and call 911. And now black people are doing it to black people too. A lot of us, we're not conscious. That third eye is not open and we're not really seeing. I think that what is happening to the Palestinian people, I wanted to go on record, I think that is tragic and it's rooted in racism. 100% it is. Again, I'll say it again. I remember when I was telling the truth about Israel and who they really were 10 years ago, only to be called anti-Semitic. I acknowledge the truth. The truth is just the truth. And they've been committing a genocide on the Palestinian people. They've been some racist shits. This ain't new. They were just looking for a reason to commit ethnic cleansing and genocide of those people that they didn't want there anyway. And now you got these Palestinian people somehow blaming Kamala Harris and black people who are going to vote for Kamala Harris as the reason for that. Not the people dropping the actual bombs on them, but for some reason it's black people in America's fault. And y'all keep going back and forth with them. I ain't arguing with them. Black people got enough to worry about. I have said it before. I will say it again. We got enough to worry about. We do not have the range or the power to keep suiting up and caping up for people that do not like us, do not care about us. And I guess this is where I am saying that, yeah, it need to be, at this point, it need to be transactional. Because every time somebody is in trouble, whether it's white women wearing pussy hats and doing their women's marches, and they done sat up and did what they did with abortion rights, and now they want black women to fight for them. And you know, all we did last year, what was it? 2 years ago, was ask them, please don't use the Tupac song in your fight, because that was a love letter he wrote to black women, and we would appreciate if you, and white women, dear mama, even though you was a black queen, mama, and they were just antagonizing the shit out of black women. And then so many white women are wondering why black women are like, nah, we got you. We hear you loud and clear now. We hear you loud and clear now. I've been telling black women, you don't need to kiss the asses of white women. Either white women gonna do the right thing and vote for Kamala, or they're not. You don't have to kiss their asses. Either white women are going to do what's in their best interest, and Kamala Harris and voting blue is in their best interest, or they are not. You don't have to argue. Same thing with the Palestinians. You don't have to argue with those Palestinians. Y'all going back and forth, wasting all this energy. And this is energy that you can be giving to your community. Rebuilding. We could be rebuilding our communities, worrying about ourselves the same way other communities worry about themselves. The reason why black people get called up like we do is because we have been, I don't know if it's because we are born that way or if it was because we were built that way. I suspect it was both. It's both. We are natural activists. We are natural activists because we're cast down at the bottom and we are used to. We arrived over on these shores in chains, and we have had a black man be president, and now we're getting ready to vote in a black woman. We have fought our way through hell. And no matter how many people don't like us, how many other communities don't like us, one thing that they got to give us is that shit right there. And so when they are in trouble, considering the fact that they don't recognize our humanity, so they feel like they still own us, but they can recognize the fight in us. And so they feel like they can bottle that up and use it for their own purposes and their own benefits. And too many of us keep allowing that to happen, thinking it's going to be some reciprocation on down the line. And there never is. And it's time for black people to really start worrying about black people. It really is. It's time for us to focus on our communities. It's time for us to build generational wealth. It's time for us to invest in our own communities. Black people have enough money to invest in our own communities. We have $7 trillion in spending power annually. If we poured it into each other and poured it into our communities, we would be better off. But white supremacy tell us, no. Every dollar we make, we should turn around 6 hours later and give it to someone, put it in the hands of someone that doesn't look like us, instead of keeping it in the community. And it's very telling. It's telling when you ride through our communities. It's telling in the way that we handle our businesses. It's telling in the way that we deal with each other. You're going to always have black people that stand on business. When it comes to loving other black people, you're going to always have those black people. But there is not enough of us. There are not enough of us. Y'all over here worried about these Palestinians, letting them gaslight y'all into not voting for the first woman president, the first black woman president. And if you go down in my comments and you say she's not black, I'm going to block you. Because that's anti-black. She had a black daddy and a black grandma. She black. She black enough. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Having only one black parent wasn't enough to free you from slavery, but it was enough to put you in slavery. Having only one black parent. They didn't free their half-white children. They put them to work. Just like they did any other slave. They put them to work. Black people, we need all our soldiers. We are not in a position to turn down help. No matter where it's coming from, actually. No matter where it's coming from. You just got to make sure that help is actual help, you know? But the way I support Palestine, it will be for voting for Kamala. Because I know what Trump will do to aid Israel. And y'all have to stop letting yourselves be gaslit and going back and forth with these Palestinians, most of whom that y'all going back and forth with, they don't even live in America. They don't even live in America. And you kind of got to ask yourself, what is the motivation? If you know that Donald Trump because he said it out of his own mouth. Everything, when these Republicans, they can't hold water. They tell everything that they're going to do. And for some reason, we don't believe them or we don't listen to them. He says, I'm going to give Israel everything that Israel needs in order to end this problem and end it quickly. But Palestinians on the internet, you black people, Kamala. I'm starting to believe that they're getting paid by Russia. I'm starting to think that. I really am. I'm starting to think that. Because why would you have a problem with black people? Why would you have a problem with a Democratic presidency, a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate? If you really care about your people. Y'all not questioning that? I'm questioning that. And then, and it's so funny. You know what else I'm questioning is last year, again, when I tried to tell black people, I said, these Palestinians, excuse me, y'all expending a lot of energy. I mean, it was black people on the internet last year. They were crying real tears over what was going on in Palestine. I was like, oh, Palestinians on a good day don't like black people. On a good day. Go online and look and see how they treat black Palestinians. But y'all caping up and crying over them. And I get it, because genocide is horrible. But this was the part that really baffled me, because that happened last year, October 7th, they dropped those bombs on them. And and like I said, black people was crying. I'm out. Genocide! Genocide! This is a genocide! This is genocide! And we can't, I'm not gonna, genocide! I mean, like, to that degree. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I watched the next month, y'all turn right around and celebrate Thanksgiving. And I said, oh. Okay, what is it really about? Because it can't be about a genocide. It can't be about a genocide. The way black people have looked at me for years, crazy, side-eyed, tried to gaslight me when I said I did not, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, because it's a celebration of a genocide. And the only reason why y'all think it's a good thing is because white supremacy, again, and when you don't deconstruct, white supremacy has told you that it's this great American holiday, and they done sold you this bullshit story. Because y'all not reading enough books, y'all don't read enough history, y'all don't know the real truth behind it. Some of you do know the truth, and in order to continue justifying celebrating this holiday that was built on a massacre of people, a genocide, a whole genocide, a genocide of people. I've had black people say things to me like, because they half in and they half out. So they'll say, well, it's just a day that I spend with family and then I get off. And you eat traditional Thanksgiving food, you have a good time, and then, it's no different. It's no different. I can call a chair a table, but it's still a chair. The thing about deconstruction, I'm going to tell you, when you deconstruct, you got to face hard truths. You do. There is no successful deconstruction without being able to see the truth and look at the truth. It don't mean you gotta like it, but the truth is the truth. It's its own thing. And either you someone that can accept that truth or you're not. You know what it is because the natives told you what the holiday is. Listen, white supremacy is so strong to where you actually have a few natives that celebrate Thanksgiving. That is how deep white supremacy goes. And if you don't start digging at them roots, cried on that app, cried real tears, and then turned right around and celebrated another genocide. And I asked the question last year. I said, so what genocides matter? Is it genocides that only got filmed? Is it genocides that only happened I don't know, that are only happening now currently? Is it which genocides matter? If it's about genocide, I mean, what genocides don't matter? I'm not understanding. If it's about genocide, if it's truly about genocide, if y'all really got an issue with genocide, why are y'all celebrating Thanksgiving? One person stitched me, and she said to her, and she was the only black person that said, you know what? You got me there. And I did. And I did. She said, you got me. Because you're right. Yeah. Y'all cried on that app. Still crying on that app. And a lot of y'all in November are going to celebrate Thanksgiving. So it can't be about a genocide. And this is me just confronting you with the truth. It can't. You're okay with genocide. Genocide's not the problem. Maybe it's just you wanting to be on the bandwagon. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you really need to sit down and examine it and peel back those layers and go real deep. Because if you are planning a Thanksgiving dinner on the one hand and you got videos talking about what's happening in Gaza and this genocide on the other hand, explain to me how genocide is what you got the problem with. If you're still celebrating Thanksgiving. I'll never forget when I deconstructed from a lot. When I deconstructed from religion and stopped celebrating Thanksgiving. When I stopped celebrating the 4th of July because my people were not free then. When I stopped celebrating Thanksgiving because it is a genocide. It's a whole celebration of a genocide. Have you learned like the true story of Thanksgiving? That is horrific. I can't in good conscience celebrate that. But y'all do just out of tradition and habit without having really sat down and thought about it. And then because a lot of us just don't have the backbone, that's the truth, the backbone to say, you know what? Yeah, I have to deconstruct from colonialism. You celebrate that holiday because white people tell you to celebrate that holiday. Because white people tell you to celebrate the genocide of the Native American indigenous people of this land. That's why you celebrate that. And that is why I say again, a lot of black people like certain parts of white supremacy. And I get it. It's not a overnight thing, deconstruction. Deconstruction, it takes years. And you have to peel back layer after layer after layer after layer. And you have to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And understanding why and how we have been so conditioned to think the things that we think and do the things that we do. And then when you see how it's all connected, and then you realize how bamboozled you have been and how much you really don't think for yourself. You just actively do not think we just actively do not think for ourselves. And we think the way others have told us to think. Look at that MAGA cult. They cannot think for themselves. They have been conditioned. They have been indoctrinated. And it goes so deep. It doesn't matter the lies. It doesn't matter the injustices. It doesn't matter. They have been brainwashed into a cult. And it too is just another branch of white supremacy. White supremacist ideology rebranded. And until you decolonize your mind, you're not going to see clearly. And you're not going to be conscious. And I'm not perfect in this. I'm still waking up. Every day I'm waking up to the real shit around me. But the thing of it is are you going to allow yourself to keep waking up? Or are you going to just accept things for what people tell you they are? Or are you really going to just be your own person and think for yourself? And not be afraid to do your own thing. Some of us are in a crowd and we go along with the herd because we're afraid to think independently. We're afraid to be isolated. We're afraid to be on our own. We're afraid of what other people might think. And I think that's why a lot of black people are so diehard when it comes to the Palestinian and what's going on with them, despite everything that they see Palestinians doing and saying. We somehow don't think that we are worthy to be our own people, have agency over ourselves, have our own thoughts, our own opinions, our own lives, our own communities, our own values. And that's why we always looking for somebody else to guide us and tell us what to do. And a lot of us, as soon as that phone call come in, we do it. Because a lot of us still slaves. I'll leave my Cash App and Venmo in the comments. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.